Welcome to Matthias Studios and Pottery here on the South Shore of Boston, Massachusetts. Well, first of all, I want to personally welcome my newest retailer into the family of pottery, and that is Unplugged and Be Mindful Yoga Studios. They are literally right across the street from me in the heart of Marshfield. It is, hands down, an amazing facility. Melissa, the owner, totally redid the outside of the building and totally redid the inside of the building, and it looks incredible. And they have a boutique store right in the entranceway when you walk into the yoga studios. Really, it's hands down one of the finest boutiques around. Really thoughtfully curated with unique and artistic items. If you're looking for a unique boutique, this would be the place to visit. They just started carrying my peace plaques, and of course, they have my mini lotus bowls in the boutique also. So if you're looking, again, if you're looking for a great boutique, stop in. And if you're a yoga person, if you're a person into yoga, it's worth a visit. Their studios are stunning. I can't say enough about it. Well, I've received some questions regarding the difference between production pottery and bespoke pottery. And today is the day to further clarify that because I'm unloading the kiln and I have examples of both production and bespoke. You can purchase both of those on my website, matthiasstudios.com. So let's get at it. First of all, what is production pottery? For me, in my studio operation, I pretty much consider myself a production house and a bespoke house. First of all, let's clarify that every single piece that I create in this pottery is an original piece of work. No one piece of pottery is identical because each piece is handmade. There's no manufacturing process involved here. So what is production pottery? Production pottery, and this is an example of production pottery. Ideal example is my Lotus Bowl series. So again, each piece is original. However, I have streamlined a process. I don't know if that's the correct way of putting it, but I have a process put into place where I can produce these pieces so that they relatively look the same each time I produce them. The uniqueness would be how the clay comes together, how the form comes out, how the glazing, what happens when I take it out of the kiln. Each time, even though I'm using the same colors, I'm dipping generally the same way into the glaze. Each time these pieces come out, they're going to have a unique look. But when you purchase them, you know in general what you're going to get. I'm going to dip it in green, I'm going to dip it in white, I'm going to have my unique blue glazing on the bottom of the bowl. The shape is going to be relatively the same. You know all those factors are going to be similar, but they're going to come together differently and have slight variations on the look of the piece itself. So that's production pottery in this house, in this pottery. Bespoke pottery are pieces that I work with the client one-on-one. We have a discussion. What are they looking for? What colors are they looking for? Sizes, dimensions. Is it going somewhere particular in their home? Maybe I need to do a site visit at their home to see and to get a better feel of where that piece is going to land, and then I can even give them further guidance on the design, the look, and the color of the piece itself. So at the bottom of this kiln, I'm going to lift this piece up. This is an example of a production piece. Now this client came to my pop-up gallery. I still have my pop-up gallery at Wilkins Signs right down the road from me. I have a really great individual space, a room full of my pottery. So this client came, they were in love with my pottery, and they were almost going to buy something, and then they're like, you know what? That's not quite going to fit in my home. Why don't you come to my home, bring a couple pieces, and we'll see what works. So I did that. None of the pieces worked. I didn't think they were proportional going on a nice, huge coffee table in their living room. I didn't think any of those pieces were proportional, and I didn't think the colors were quite right, what they were looking for. So I did a site visit. I came up with a couple examples, a couple drawings, a couple explanations, and we landed on a project. This was about a month ago. Bespoke pottery could take a month to even into 3 months. So this piece came out on the first run. It came out really great. So I'm going to lift. This is a prime example of bespoke pottery. This is a big bowl, but it's going to look great on their table. So this is what we came up with. And I did a few pieces like that. I'm going to bring it in closer. I did a few pieces like that as prototypes that I decided not to bring those prototypes into production because there are just too many variables in a piece that is this big. This is made from a sand mold. I have a sandbox down here in my studio to make it this large of a piece. And she loved this theme that I came up with because where I live on Wrexham Beach at my Hermitage studio, one side is the ocean, the other side is the marsh, and that's what this piece is inspired by. It's inspired by the ocean and then all the various marsh rivers that surround this area, hence Marshfield. But they all merge back into the ocean, so that was the inspiration to this piece itself. So, and then this is very unique, and then the other aspect of the piece that she was enthralled with was the Shinu glazing process, which creates darker color on the upper smooth parts and then lighter colors in the indented marks. That's the indentations of the sand when the bowl was laying in the sand, in the sandbox. So she just loved the contrast of the underside of the piece itself with the upper side, which has that really highly glazed look, and then the marshes and the oceans all melding together. So that's a classic example of bespoke pottery. I will never ever be able to create a piece that even comes close to looking like this because it's so large. When I trim it, that pattern, I will not be able to recreate that pattern like I recreate the patterns of the Lotus Bowl. Again, a very unique and original piece, but I can create similar pieces to this. This piece of bespoke pottery is truly an heirloom piece for my client. No piece will ever come close to looking like this again. So that's the difference between the two. I think they're both great. This one, the bespoke, just a little more love, a little more originality. Well, that's it for the weekly this week. I'll catch you again next week. I have an announcement next week. I'm still planning it out, but it's an interesting announcement, and hopefully you'll find it enthralling enough that you'll purchase one. MatthiasStudios.com. Until next week, as always, let's stay creative.